All right, everybody. Welcome to the podcast that we all talk about. It is the health of man. I am your host, Selwyn Robbins, and I'm always happy to be able to sit in front of you and just have that time to engage, just chop it up a little bit, and just speak about those things that are helping men and their families, just engage and grow all together in life. And today we have a special guest. I met this brother about a couple of months ago, actually at an event my wife was hosting, and I just truly appreciated the conversation that we had for that short time, but it was engaging, and he was even speaking into my life at the time as well. So I like to make sure that I connect with individuals that have that ability, and this man does. So, ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Mr. Victor Johnson.
Thank you.
I know, right?
Thank you. Glory to God.
We always hear. Hey,
I
brother,
appreciate
welcome.
you having me, man. Thank you so much, Selwyn.
You're welcome, man. You're welcome. Go ahead and tell them a little bit about yourself, man.
Well, I am a believer. I'm a husband. I'm a father. I'm a grandfather. Of
Oh,
course, I'm a son and sibling and all those other things. So I like to start with that. That's because I don't
mhm.
believe in starting that my title and what I do is who I am. I'm a person, right? And I have
Yes, sir.
relationships that matter to me. But I'm also an award-winning speaker. I've done
Mhm.
Toastmasters. I've done TEDx. And I take great pride in the gift of being able to communicate. I'm also an author of the book, Proven Pathways to Wealth and Happiness. It never gets old seeing your name at the bottom of a book. So, and you're an author too, so
No,
you're
it
going to
doesn't.
appreciate that. And I'm also a coach. I do a lot of coaching on youth mentoring, leadership, and definitely financial literacy. And I work at Prosperity Bank, which is a Texas, Oklahoma regional bank, and I'm the community outreach coordinator on the mortgage team. So my goal is to help create more Black homeowners across the state of Texas and Oklahoma. So I stay active, but believe it or not, there's a lot of congruence in what I do
Mm,
because in
yeah.
general, I just want to see people level up and I want to
Mhm.
inspire them to action. So that's who I am and what I do.
Uh, and you said a key word, and it actually goes to my first question: inspire them to level up. So I want to ask this: what inspired you to even be a part of building communities?
Well, I saw it in my community. I grew up in Oakland, California, Richmond,
Mm,
all the East Bay and San Francisco, and not always the greatest parts of town. And I
hmm
had people around me that were pouring into me. A gentleman named Dr. Joseph Marshall, he's with the Omega Boys Club out there. They're 30 something years now sending youth to college, HBCUs across the country. So I got a
hmm
chance to see that. Of course, Pearlie Mae, my grandmother, always pulled me in the church. So I got a chance to see a lot of people in the church
hmm
pouring into the community. And I think more importantly, how it impacted people, right? Because not everybody has the resources or even the wherewithal to know how to move forward in whatever they're dealing with,
Yeah.
finances, their careers, whatever that is, health. And seeing people during my teens that were pouring into others, and I'm like, well, why are they doing this? It really kind of impacted me. And I
hmm
found myself over the years, whether I knew it or not, just always wanting to help people kind of move forward in some capacity. Even at my jobs, I see somebody struggling with something. Hey, can I maybe
hmm
suggest
Yeah.
something? Or, in my community, I love to see people thriving. I think when we all are helping each other, it's just a better community. And that's something that I really believe in. And so God has put me in a position where I can impact people in different ways. I'm on a neighborhood advisory committee for the city of Carrollton, Texas, where I live. And I never really knew what that was because I was actually going for the planning and zoning commission because I was in real estate heavily. But they felt that I should be on the neighborhood advisory committee, which is,
Wow.
making sure that the homeowners association have their communities beautified. What's going
hmm
on with the streets and things in the community. And I also learned about grants that the city's offering. So I'm always sharing information through the different outlets that I have access to. And it started
hmm
with those teenage years, me seeing other people pouring into the community in the way that they have and how it impacted the community.
So in that, you spoke a lot about the community and actually being shifted or redirected from what you thought you wanted to be in as far as the role, but they said, nah, you're a better fit over here in the community. And let's move on that. There is when you're being developed to build a community. What have you seen transpire over the years since being in that role, in the sense of how people have engaged, how they have grown personally as well as in the community? I know you mentioned the HOAs as
Yeah.
well, so that kind of goes with it. Well, what have you seen in that manner?
Well, I think in general, people don't have a clue of what their cities have capabilities to do for them, right? You know,
Hmm.
we watch the news and we say, oh, well, they need to fix the highways over here and this and that. But in general, they don't realize that there are dollars that roll down from the government to the state to the city. And those dollars are supposedly to make the community better, whether that's from
Hmm.
a community development block grant, which is to support low to moderate income community members, or to other things from infrastructure and school districts and things like that. And so I think one thing that's important to me that I've seen is that when I'm able to communicate to people in the community about these different resources, it allows them
Hmm.
to dig deeper and find out, wow, I didn't realize that they can fix my downspouts and gutters for no cost because I live in this area, right? Or that,
Hmm.
there's different things that can be done to support the school districts. I didn't know that there was pretty much every school district has foundations, right? I'm part of the Carrollton Farmers Branch Educational Foundation. Who
Okay.
knew that there were donors that give money to the foundation, and the foundation supports educators and students when the school district can't support them or they don't have the capacity financially. So it's little
Wow.
things like that that when I'm able to share that, it opens people's eyes. And, I can't be your full educational resource, but at least I
Right.
can plant the seed to say, hey, look,
Hmm.
this is some things out there. Here's a little bit of information. Go to this website and learn a little bit
Hmm.
more. And then hopefully you not only support your family with this, but go tell your neighbors about this or tell
Yeah.
somebody else, because again, it's going to make the entire community better when we know these resources are out there. So I guess in general, to answer your question, what
Hmm.
I've seen is it allows people to kind of see, hey, there's more help than I think is available to me. And we don't
Hmm.
have to be shy about asking for help in certain areas of our lives. I think that's what we're all here to do, is to serve each other. So find
Hmm.
somebody who can serve what your needs are. And of course, then your obligation is then to take that and share it with somebody else, or to help somebody else with whatever they're doing.
That's key there in a lot of different things in regards to having information and not holding it,
Mm,
but sharing it
yeah.
in its time. And what is the old adage? Information, or excuse me, knowledge is power. I think the same thing goes for information just as well. That you're speaking to one individual or a group of individuals, but anyone has the opportunity to take the information that you've given them and run with it. Not everybody will, and that's not something you can control.
Right.
All you can do is put it out there. And I believe, and please correct me if I'm wrong, but that can be one of the biggest hindrances of any community not growing the way they should and or want to be. As you said, you spoke about the foundations. I never knew that cities have foundations that can help out the school districts as needed. So
Yeah.
I
Absolutely.
think that also allows people to get involved just as well.
Well,
Have
that's
you
the
seen
goal.
that? Yeah.
That's the absolute goal. We're always, well, they need to do this or they need to do that. Well, what part do you play? You live in this community too, and
Hmm.
your tax dollars are being utilized in support of the city. So you're just going to have the money go there and then wait for them with your hands crossed. Like, you know what I mean? It's like we
Yeah.
all have to play a part in what we want to see happening. What is it?
Hmm.
The phrase of be the change that you want to see.
Yeah.
And I
Gandhi.
think it's
Hmm.
important that we get involved, especially at the local level, when we always hear about the national elections and all those things. But I think you have a greater impact when you can touch right here the streets that you
Hmm.
see, the people that you're driving by every day, and get involved with those different boards and commissions. There's no cost for it. You don't have to be elected. You do have to apply. And
Hmm.
typically you would have to sit in front of city council and the mayor and let them kind of vet you out. But you
Yeah.
have the opportunity to make an impact, and why not? What else are you doing, besides
Hmm.
complaining? I don't like those type of folks that are always complaining about things and not really looking for where they can make a difference in their own, in their own gifting. And so that's
Hmm.
important to me. And I also believe that kind of going into the youth side of thing, when you're talking about
Yeah.
school districts and whatnot, they can't do it all. There's no
Mm-hmm.
way that school districts, especially with some of the different politics that go on from state to state, that funding goes up, funding goes down,
Yeah.
teachers move around and go into different careers because of pay or whatever. So you as a community member, I think, have a role to help these kids become
Mm-hmm.
strong individuals, and then hopefully they'll contribute to the same community. So now you're an older person 10, 20 years later, and these same youth that you poured into, they're now leaders in this community, and you
Yeah.
had an impact on how they think and their integrity-based thinking.
And that as you speak about and or transitioning over to the youth, that is one of the biggest things I think, as far as organizations today, that's so important, whether it's the young men or young women. There's organization I know of, the Men and Ladies of Honor, with Tony and Melissa Rory. They do the same thing in regards to speaking to the youth. And I really want to get you talking about this, because this is really the heart of the conversation,
Yeah.
the men and the young men. But they have that organization built strategically, but specifically for the young men and women in schools and building them up. It's a Christ-led foundation, and it's awesome. It's an international organization right now. So as you do your own thing with See Your Future Self,
Create your future self. Yeah.
Create Your Future
Yes.
Self.
Yes.
My bad.
No.
Create Your Future Self.
Yeah.
Um, I saw that and I was like, you know what? If I had that thought when I was in like junior high, at that time, dude, you just want to get to school, play sports, go home, whatever.
Right.
You barely thinking about getting a ninth grade in high school, however it's situated now. So creating my future self was not in the plan, not until I actually got into the workforce and they started dropping this question on you. It's like, where do you see yourself in 5 years?
Mm-hmm.
And we used to balk at that. It's like, dude, I could barely see myself in a year, and you're talking about 5. But that old question still remains.
Yeah.
And it has to be even more prevalent today because men and women are wanting so many different things. They don't want just a 9 to 5. So as we go back to the youth, when you speak about creating your future self, how do you expose them to where they are right now, as far as seeing themselves now, to where they could or want to be in the future?
Wow. That's a power-packed question. So the whole concept of create your future self came back in 2020. I was submitting contracts for Dallas Independent School District to do this program where I wanted to teach youth about financial literacy. I wanted to help them, again, make integrity-based decisions. I wanted to help
Mhm.
them, understand that their actions have ripple effects, not only on their life, but others are affected by their decisions. And why did I want to do that? Well, because I saw it in my own life. Like, I made decisions. I was a young dad. I had a kid at 17, 20, 22. I was a father of 3 by 22 years old.
Mhm.
And for me, it was like, okay, if I can get to some of these young men, especially, but also young
Yeah.
ladies, but to young men, especially at those critical times in their life where, hormones are raging. They also
Mhm.
have influence on the street. They got
Yeah.
influence in the classroom and all these things. Then maybe I could impact a kid and maybe they can impact other kids. And so anyway, we submitted the proposal to Dallas Independent School District, got awarded, was like, Brad, we're going to do this thing. And a week later, the pandemic happened. So the school shut down, all these things. And a young lady, Keisha Bruno, who's actually with Junior Achievement, turned me
Okay.
on to a grant program to do a summer version of my Create Your Future Self youth program.
Okay.
So from that point forward, we went virtual and I was just promoting it locally. And we thought, well, we'd probably have 15 to 20 kids jump on this thing. It's a 4-day program and we had, different careers, people represented, speakers on financial literacy. We had people that were just in different career modes teaching the kids each day. And we had a lot of little virtual games that we did. Well, turns out that we didn't just have Dallas area kids. We had kids from 13 states pop in because I guess they were sharing the
What?
link with their cousins and everybody
Yeah.
else. We had 2 countries pop up, Canadian and African, jump on
Sweet.
these Zoom calls. And
Come on, man.
again, just virtually, we were able to impact some of their decision, their thinking in just a
Hmm.
4-day period. And we
Wow.
continued that program. This is literally the first summer since 2020 that I did not do the program. And we did
Hmm.
it in person after the first 2 years. But the whole point was to create these youth. And some of them now, 5 years later, have come
Hmm.
back and said, "Hey, Mr. Victor, man, thank you so much for teaching me about the difference between wants and needs, budgeting my dollars. Like,
Hmm.
I'm a little smarter. I got my first job and now I'm putting away 10% of my money with every check. Even though it may seem hard, I just make it an automatic thing. I
Yeah.
just impacted thinking. And
Hmm.
hopefully that kid impacted somebody else. And so the whole point is somebody hopefully did it for us. And if they didn't, then that's even more of a reason for you to do it for a kid or a youth in your community. And I'm really
Hmm.
passionate about that. Create Your Future Self is a DBA for my business. It's called Nico Don Projects. And so we
Hmm.
DBA as Create Your Future Self Youth Program. And of course, we have the Be the Victor Consulting. But I'm
Yeah.
part of a nonprofit also called King's Accountability Group, which is an international men's support group. And now we're mentoring youth through that program in our Prince to Kings program. So I just stay active, brother. I'm involved because I see those aha moments pop up in a
Yeah.
kid when they just really want to know that somebody cares, somebody really
Hmm.
wants to help them, and they'll play tough at first, but when they see the
Yeah.
consistency of you keep showing up, then they realize, man, somebody cares. Maybe it is important that I try to do better with my decision making. So
Hmm.
I hope I answered the question in there, but it's just so important to me. I'm really passionate about seeing young people thrive.
Well, you fully answered it and then some, and you said something there right at the end of decision making. Man, and it goes back to being the young father, being where most of us have been, being that teen or that young adult, didn't have the sense of direction, didn't have the mentoring. Growing up, there was really no mentoring for me. It was
Mm.
the only way you got it really was the discipline through sports.
Yeah,
And that was X amount of hours per day
right.
for the week. But it wasn't about disciplining you for life. It was disciplining you for sports.
Mm.
And I am a big person about leadership and discipline because we always need leadership. We always need discipline.
For sure.
It doesn't matter how old you get.
Never gets
But
old.
when it comes to the youth, we always reflect back on ourselves and think about what would you tell your young self with the information you know today. So to speak on the young man, um, in that light there, if you were to see some of those young men again, what would you tell them that you may not have had the chance to initially when you spoke with them?
Think that I'm always telling youth, even still today, but some of the ones from back then, you know, obviously everybody didn't make the right decisions. And I don't even know some of the outcomes of some of the kids that were in those
Mhm.
programs. But my message to youth is always to, number one, believe that you can do what you want to do. Like, you really can achieve this thing. And
Mhm.
it's one of those things that sounds cliche because probably every Instagram or TikTok video is talking about, yeah, believe in yourself and all these things.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
like, our belief system about ourselves is created when we're young, right? Your beliefs
Mhm.
around money could have been something that happened with your parents. I know with mine, no, you can't have them shoes, boy. They're too expensive. We can't afford that.
Right?
And so when I got grown and started making money, it's like, well, I'm gonna buy all the shoes I can, and I'm blowing
Mhm.
through money. That's not
Yeah.
so it's these traumas that we have, and we have to be able to confront that. So when I say believe in yourself, I'm like, you for real can do it. Like, you can create your future self based on
Mhm.
what you think, the actions you take, and the
Yeah.
words that you choose to label yourself, so to speak, because that's really what's happening. An event
Mhm.
happens, good or bad, and you put a label on it. And then that
Yeah.
label becomes a tattoo to you. Is, well, every time that happens, I do this,
Mhm.
right? And
Yeah.
so I'm always teaching kids, like, you can, even if you have bad experiences, those were events. Just like a Sunday football game. In 3 hours, it's over, right? Whatever your time period, it's
Hey.
gonna end, and you'll be
Mhm.
through that, right? And
Yeah.
so I just really want them to believe that they can get past
Mhm.
any negative experiences that they've had, the traumas, confront
Mm-hmm.
them, like be
Yeah.
willing to be open and seek out help to talk to somebody about what you've gone through. And maybe an older person or maybe even somebody in your family or whatever can tell you something that will help you to realize that you're not a failure. You had a
Mm-hmm.
failed event, but it
Okay.
doesn't make you a failure. Pick
Mm-hmm.
yourself up, look at the experience. What did I learn from that? And now how can
Yeah.
I move forward with a different mindset? And that's all we're really doing with these young people is teaching them how to use their minds in a way that helps them to be better and
Mm-hmm.
hopefully helps others around them be better as well.
You said a key word in that, trauma.
Mm. We all got them. We all
Come
got them,
on,
whether we
bro.
want to believe it or not. Yep.
Man, my wife and I will be married going on 10 years in March. And
Congratulations.
thank you.
Mhm.
And we've had our past experiences before our dating, past relationships or whatnot. And one thing we know for sure and have talked about is that we still, it, oh God, I want to be careful in saying this. We're healed to a point where we can progress in life, but yet we still have trauma that we haven't dealt with, right?
Yeah.
So in the youth, it's even much harder for them because they don't know how to deal with the trauma.
Mm-hmm.
Well, and even before that, even recognize that they're in trauma.
Yeah.
In those moments you're speaking about, the failed event, yeah, I was hurt, I was crying. That's trauma to the emotions, the body, the spirit, however, whichever may be impacted. But then I have to be able to recognize that. And
Yeah.
once I recognize that, how do I start dealing with it? Because if I don't now, it's just going to continue to be a perpetual cycle
Yeah.
of the same thing. Okay, I got a bad grade, my day is down. I go home, had no food, the day is down. These are all cyclical traumas of youth today. Have you came across that? And if so, how have y'all dealt with that?
Absolutely. The last couple of years, I've mentored in Carrollton Farmers Branch Independent School District, mostly seventh and eighth graders. Last year, I did have one school where I was doing high schoolers, but so it's
Mhm.
seventh and eighth grade, what, you're 12, 13, 14 years old. And these kids are coming from some tough households.
Mhm.
Maybe a kid moved here from another state because now they living with mom or they living with dad and they got all that going on. Some of these kids are making grown up decisions before they even get to
Yeah.
school, right? And
Mm.
so, one
Man.
thing that I have been successful at is just allow them to be, right?
Mhm.
If you're comfortable talking, great. If you're not, participate where you can, where you feel comfortable. And like I said earlier, Selwyn, I think the biggest success in our program is that we just keep showing up, right? They see the
Mhm.
consistency of somebody there. And then, like this one young man, he might have said 7 words through the entire school year. And we were there
Wow.
every Tuesday morning, starting September all the way through May. And he come in with
Wow.
his hoodie on, and I always greet the kids at the door. We shake hands, we look eye to eye. So he's engaging, but when he sits
Mhm.
down, he's not going
Yeah.
to raise his hand. He's not going to talk. If there's a written activity, he's going to write. And then we
Mhm.
brought in Michael Finley from the Dallas
Oh,
Mavericks, VP,
yeah.
NBA champion with San Antonio Spurs. And everybody got up, shook their hands because I wanted Finley to see these young men have progressed and they walking up confident, shaking hands. And
Yeah.
this young man, he's like, oh, he didn't say nothing. He's like, and so we're getting ready to go to the next one. And Finley says, no, 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 man, come on, bro. And just kind of encouraging him. And he got up and everybody just starts clapping for him. And you see the little
Wow.
smile on his face, man. And that to
Wow.
me was enough because this
Yeah.
kid had not been engaging at all from a visible perspective. And so I guess what I'm saying is not forcing kids to do anything, allow them to be, and just the consistency of positivity. Always bring in different mentors. Of course, we feed the kids
Yeah.
and giving them love and letting them know, hey man, I love you, brother. I know we just met this year, man. I just love you,
Mhm.
man. I love you because you keep showing up for the class and
Yeah.
just building them up. And who knows if they're hearing anything like that at home, And so
Mm.
I think for me, it's just I like to share with these kids what I didn't always feel like I got as a kid, or I've seen other kids in different scenarios, and they all just want to know that they matter, man, and that
Mm-hmm.
somebody cares. And I give them all my number. If something happens, I'm not here to be your teacher. I'm not your parent. I'm a mentor.
Mm-hmm.
I'm
Yeah.
somebody you can just throw it something at, and I'm not going to judge you. I just want to
Mm-hmm.
hear your voice, and if I can offer some guidance, that's what I want to do. And everybody that I bring in, that's the mindset that they have, because we're not here
Mm-hmm.
to get kids in trouble or anything. We just want to show you we care for you, and we want to see the best for
And
you. Mm-hmm.
that's something that could take a young man or woman to graduation. I
Yes,
just want to see the best for you, man.
that's all I want to
Um,
see. Yep.
I want to bring my wife up again. That's her mindset because she pours so much out into those students. And when I see the men I work with or the young men, it is taking the opportunity with them. I remember this. It was a few years ago. I was in the grocery store and the school year was just getting ready to begin. And I saw a mother and her son. They were happened to be on the same aisle. As soon as I passed by them, Lord said, "Pray for him." So
Mm.
I walked up to the lady, to the mother. I said, "Ma'am, do you mind if I pray for your son?" She's like, "Oh," it was like, yes. Like, what?
Yeah.
I wasn't really expecting that reaction. Maybe a yes, but not the way she
Mm-hmm.
uh, expressed herself in that way. I was like, oh yeah, okay, and prayed for him. And she said, because they need it. And
Yes.
follow me as a believer, I'm always going to profess Christ, but just demonstrating it and taking those opportunities to that as we see, we could speak a quick word into him and saying, you know what, I see more in you than what you see in yourself. And I mean, to whatever level it can be, because you never know how those words can uplift them and take them through the rest of their day. Because like you said, you don't know what kind of household they're coming from. You don't know what kind of class they're going to next. You don't know what kind of friends they may have or what kind of environment they're going to be in. But if you can, as you said, the Gandhi quote, be the change that you want to see,
Mm-hmm.
speak that into them, man. It's so vital that they get those little nuggets.
Yeah.
And going back to what you said at the top, we were speaking about your voice. And you said, oh man, you didn't even attribute that to yourself. You went straight to Pops and said, oh, I got that from my dad.
Yeah.
Right. And you're just continuing. It wasn't just the voice, but what that voice does and it carries. And you continue to speak that. So as you carry on um, through Pathfinders and create your future self, along with prosperity and the other things that are all in your hand right now,
Mm-hmm.
um, what is your biggest, I don't want to say, I guess your biggest purpose in all of that you're doing? What is that you really want to see?
I want to leave more on this planet than I've taken from it.
Hmm.
That's it, man.
Mm-hmm.
I don't have. I used to have, career aspirations. I'm climbing a ladder all through my 20s and 30s, and and I
Mm-hmm.
and I burned through some relationships that way. I'm talking about even with my kids. I
Mm-hmm.
probably neglected my wife at times, spending time with her, and even growing a business. You got to spend time in a business
Yeah.
or in your career, right? Those are things that just the way our society is. You have to generate money to take care of things, but
Mm-hmm.
in my sageness, as I start aging now, I'm realizing that
Right.
it's really about impact that you leave.
Mm-hmm.
I recently spoke on a Zig Ziglar morning devotional. His
Mm-hmm.
kids have started this big devotional, and there's a lot of speakers on there. And when I was presenting, I asked everybody to challenge themselves to say, 100 years from today, somebody who's listening to this now, I'm talking to you. 100 years from today, you will definitely not be here.
Mm-hmm.
But will you only be remembered because of the old dusty picture on the mantle? Or will
Mm-hmm.
you have done something with your time here that makes a ripple effect on the world? Right? Like
Mm-hmm.
right now, people are still talking about Think and Grow Rich from Napoleon Hill, right? Or
Yeah.
we just quoted Gandhi, right?
Mm-hmm.
These are ripple effects in the world. And I'm using quotes because I'm a speaker. But for
Mm-hmm.
me, if
Right.
I can talk to somebody and encourage them just enough to take action towards something that might have been holding them back, or they didn't feel like they could do it. And they heard Victor say it. And you know what? If he could do that, and with all his craziness that he's gone through and still was able to achieve, then I can do that. And we won't always see those end results of it, but just knowing that God gave me the ability to communicate and to help somebody, I just want to leave more than I've taken from this planet. And hopefully my grandkids will be able to say, man, because Pawpaw, they call me Pawpaw Nico. My
Yes,
middle
sir.
name is Nico. If Pawpaw Nico is here, look at all the people that he impacted. And I say it like this: 2023, my son and daughter's paternal, their maternal grandfather passed away. And at his funeral, and I knew he was a really good guy and all these things, but at his funeral, his eulogy read like the credits at the end of a movie. I mean, he did this. First black pilot in New York. He's part of NAACP, HOA leader, all these things. And I was like, I went from sad to inspired. Like, man, this dude really impacted the community. People were showing up that the family didn't even know. You know, he sat with me. He was in Atlanta, and he sat with me at Publix, just drinking coffee for an hour one day. He picked up my kid from soccer practice when I didn't have a ride. Like, that's impact. And that's all I'm here to do, Selwyn. I just want to impact the world longer than the time that I'm on this earth.
Come on, brother. Well, you're impacting all well. And I know you want to continue to do that for sure in all areas. I believe God sure will lead that path for you. I want to go back to your father again. Your father and your grandfather and what they left. You just spoke about your grandfather and the legacy.
Well, that was my son and daughter's grandfather. Yeah. Yes.
And so with your father, you spoke about the 1 hour coffee. Talk about your dad. What was impactful from him?
And I'm going to tell you now, it may get emotional, brother. My dad is alive. He's 85 years old. And so recently he's been going through some really tough health challenges. He's having these seizures back to back. I'm just he can't walk anymore. In the last 18 months, he's stopped being able to put his own socks and shoes on. So his wife is his caretaker, and just a lot of stuff. And this was a man that was a Black Panther. He was an Air Force. He was in the Air Force. He was a postman. He's a teacher. He's done youth mentoring. He's very physically fit and healthy and strong. And so it's tough to see that man as a shell of himself now, but still has a sharp brain. And he's actually writing a book as we speak. It is almost published. Yes. And we're putting that together. So God willing, we'll be able to get the physical copy of the book in his hands before he leaves this place. But he thought it was that important. And my dad wasn't a perfect man. You know, I'm a result of him. His side piece was my mom. He was married, right? And he'll be the first to tell you, look, I ain't perfect, share my story, right? But one thing that I got from him was that no matter what people think of you, they should always see you as a professional. They should always see that, I don't like that dude, but dang, he's so professional. You know what I mean? And he communicates effectively. He's always serving and helping people. And I love that about him. And I'll give a very quick story.
Yes, sir.
So I talked about Napoleon Hill's book, Think and Grow Rich, but some people are not familiar with Dr. Dennis Kimbro's book, Think and Grow Rich, A Black Choice, right? And I've actually had the opportunity to moderate a session with him here in Dallas earlier this year. And my wife, Latasha Johnson, said, you know what? You can moderate Dr. Kimbrough. You should have your dad come out here to be there. Why? Because in 1992, when the book came out, my dad gave me the book. I was already having my second kid on the way by that time, right? Well, it was coming soon. And he said, look, man, you got to get it together here. Read this book. And I read this book about 17 times, man, over the years. But it was a full circle moment for me to not only be able to moderate a session for Kimbrough, but they got to shake hands and meet, take pictures. And no matter what happens from this point forward, I know that I made an impact on my dad too, even though he made impact
Mm-hmm.
on me. And so I love him very much. And I just want to continue to spread his legacy when he's gone, So
Yes, sir.
that's my dad.
Come on. It's a great thing when you can speak about your dad, dude.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
my we have 4 adult kids. You met Deja,
Yes.
Francis, Selwyn Francis, um, Sheila J, and Jessica.
Mm.
And when we speak to them, anytime we speak to them, whether it's text message, it's normally text message these days, right?
Right. Same.
Right. Man, it's an honor to be able to speak into their lives and share with them the things that you're doing.
Yeah.
Because it inspires. They don't have to do the same thing that you're doing.
Mm-mm.
But it's like, you know what? For instance, my daughter, Jay, she's a chef. She went to school here, then went to Disney for their training and whatnot, came back, and she's working at a top restaurant in Dallas. And in that time, I found out, because I didn't know, that my grandparents, I knew they were caterers, but they also had a business as well. And I'm like, you know what? That's what I'm talking about right there. Just being able to carry on the things that the family has, not as tradition, but what has built up their culture, built up the family, built up the community as well. And I as you speak about your father, man, you know what he did for you? You're doing the same thing for the youth today. You're doing the same thing for the community. But he just spoke to, I don't know who all your father spoke to in his lifetime, but he spoke to you.
Yeah.
And by speaking to you and engaging with you and encouraging you, giving you that book, look at who you're talking to now. Look at the people that you're speaking with and the communities and the places that you're going. That's the law, I guess, in one aspect, the law of multiplication. But that's a way we can never add up.
Right. Yeah.
Oh, I want to end it with this, brother. I'm sorry. You got something to say?
No, I was just saying, and it is an absolute honor. And I used to be a little bit more like humble about those things, but I appreciate you saying that. Thank you. That's all. You're welcome,
brother. You know, we need to hear it. We need to hear it, man. It's important. It keeps us going. Yes. I want us to close with this. One small quote that you have. I know you got the quote, brother. I know you got the quote.
Yep.
I know you got the quote, but also in that, if you have any kind of inspirational thought that you want to share as well.
For who's the audience? Is it for youth, for men, for families? Who you want me to target it to? Because there is a difference.
There is a difference. Mainly the youth.
Okay.
That's what we're speaking about today. But also, if you want to touch on families.
Well, the quote is definitely create your future self. I mean, that's something that I've actually kind of trademarked as part of my business. And I just believe that we all can, with God's grace, and whoever you believe in, there is definitely a higher power, because it's no way that all this happens without, some spiritual being involved. But for me, it's God. And I still believe, though, that God is within us. So you got to create your future self through the gifts that we're given and the people that he places within your purview to be able to impact them. So as a young person out there, no matter what you're dealing with today, just know that 5 years from now, 10 years from now, the things you're doing today are going to show up in those days, right? So do something that your future self would be proud of, whether that's from a financial standpoint, whether that's from a spiritual or even physical, being able to take care of yourself. And then for families, this one is important because, again, I told you about my career, running through career and business and not always being available. And I'm not just talking about physically, but we can't just be all in the room looking at our phones and talking. Like, let's have conversations. And I would encourage people to, whoever the eldest person is in your family, pull them up, talk to them while you have the time. And don't just, we talked about, don't be just surface. How you doing today? I'm fine.
Yeah.
No. Ask questions. Did you play sports when you were 12 years old? What happened to you when you were 18 that made you, feel encouraged or depressed? Like, dig as deep as you can. How did racism impact you? What was your household like? Was your dad available? Was your mom available? Ask questions of the eldest person in your family. And then, if you can, get the youngest person and the eldest person together. And y'all have that type of synergy going where you can talk to the youngest, even if it's a baby, still talk.
Yeah.
And something that one of my family members did, and I'll wrap this up with this, is that my sister-in-law, her husband passed away in 2021. And he knew about a year before he had cancer and he knew he was going to be passing. And so, but he was a doctor and he ran towards the death, not meaning that he wanted to die, but he was like, look, I know I'm dying. What can I do in this last year of my life?
Yeah.
This guy took these little phones and started recording conversations for his, at that time, 6-year-old twins and 9-year-old son.
Oh,
And
man.
he recorded videos that he told his wife, when they turn 13, play this video. When they turn 18, play this video. I won't be here, but
Wow.
let them see who I am. And he
Wow.
played one video. She played one video for me where he's talking to them in those last days, and his body is just breaking down on him. He's like, look, I need you to know, this is not your fault. This is 100% me and my health. I don't want you to go into your life feeling like, well, it was my fault that my dad wasn't there for me. And it just touched me so much. He bought all this toilet tissue and stuff and put in the basement of their house. Like, he did what he could to set his family up for after he was gone. And so if that resonates with anybody out there, I would just encourage them to just, your family is so important, and don't wait until your career reached that pinnacle till you realize, oh, I forgot about my family back here. Be part of your family. So that's a lot, man, but I hope somebody got something from that.
Yeah, that's cool, man. I've only seen that actually happen in a movie. That is awesome, man.
That's awesome, man.
But that's creating legacy just as well, dude.
100%.
Come on, man. You know what? I'll talk too much. I'm going to leave it alone. Look, brother, thank you very much for being on here today, man. It has truly been inspirational, informational just as well. I just pray a blessing over what you're doing and continued growth. And as God directs your path on what to say yes to, what to say no to, and to always put him first in what you're doing, and continue to bless your family, man. Take care of them as you already are.
I appreciate that very much. Thanks for inviting me to this podcast. I don't take it lightly to be in somebody's space, and you've invited me in. So I thank you for that. Thank you for what you're doing. And I actually went back and looked up, just to be sure, mandated, ordered or required. You're ordered or required. So whatever that is for you all out there listening, definitely check it out and visit me at bethevictor.us.
And I add one more thing. You can find his book on bethevictor.us just as well. And you can find out more about his programs, and you could book him to speak for you, man, by all means. All right, brother, you have a blessed day, and thank you again.
You too. Thank you.
All right.